Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Nathan, and this is What Got Played. Look back at what I played since the last episode of What Got Played. Since it's the first episode, we'll look at the past week, August 10th through 16th, 2020. I played 9 games, so let's get underway, shall we? We'll start with the apps. The app versions of board games often require a deep knowledge of the game. Referring to rules isn't always as easy as it would be in a physical game, and sometimes on the phone, the cards or the parts are small, and it can take a lot of time and effort to squint at the pieces and the board state. On the plus side, it is an affordable way to experience a multiplayer game when you're solo. There is less tactile joy, no cards to hold, just a screen to tap. But the games play very fast, and often the apps are nice enough to do the arithmetic for me. My first game is hardback. It's a word game. Hardback gives you an individual deck. Each player gets an individual deck, and each card has a letter on it. You draw 5 cards from your deck of letters, and you use as many as you can to build a word. Each card you play into that word pays off money or points. Also, if you can't build a word or want to build a bigger word, you can flip any cards you want upside down. That can be used as a wild, whatever letter you want. But you forego the money and the points for that card. Thinking up words and deciding what to buy is a good mental exercise for me, and it really does play fast. However, the app does freeze up. That's another disadvantage that you don't get from a physical game that you can't have on an app. The possibility of app freeze up. It also has pass and play. Play your turn, build your word, get your points, buy new letters with your money, and hand it over to the next guy and let him play his turn. I've never done it, but it's a nice option to have. There's no really theme or character. There's a story about being an author that kind of is tacked on, and I don't know. But I really enjoy the challenge. I played 3 games this week against 4 AI players. That's the maximum that's allowed. The first play, I scored 67 points and came in first. Then the second play, I scored 44 points, came in third. And I'm really proud of that first place win. The AI is very clever. The third game froze up, and I really didn't have the energy to continue at the time. The future prognosis for this game. I don't see myself stopping. The challenge is usually worth the effort. Okay, the second game I do have a box version of, and that is 7 Wonders. 7 Wonders, low these years ago, it's been quite a while since I bought this game, is a silly purchase. You need at least 3 players. The box says 2 to 7. I don't like the 2-player version very much. We tried it, it's not super great. And so I never have 3 players. I need to buy games that play solo, but I still bought this one. It is the first game I discovered on Board Game Geek, and I wanted it. So, I was very happy to discover the app. You start with a handful of cards. In each of 3 rounds, you start with a handful of cards that represent buildings, and you can pick one of them. Every turn you pick one of them, and you can put it into your, use it to build your ever-growing civilization, or you discard it for money, or you can use it to build part of your wonder. which gives you special powers or money, points, all sorts of fun stuff. Varies from civilization to civilization. Mixes the game up a little bit, makes it interesting. Anyway, once you've done that, picked a card and decided what to do with it, you take your hand of cards and you pass it to the next player, who will do the same thing, repeat, 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 until you're down to one card, and that's it, until the round ends. At the end of the game, you add up the points, or you let the app do it. And in the game, the cards are small, and I do know them by heart, but I still sometimes have to squint and tap. I believe you can also only see the civilizations of the players on the left and the right. I usually play with 6 AI players, and I know that some advanced strategies require you to see more than just the guy to your immediate left and right. And so that could be a downside. The game is fast and it is fun. In real life, the box is 30 minutes. In real life, it's 40 to 60 minutes to play. It's about 10 minutes on the app. There's no setup, there's no teardown, there's no calculation at the end of the game. It's fantastic. There are also, in addition, little icons here on the corner of each card in the app version that let you know if the card can be played for free, or if the card costs money, or if it's simply unplayable to you. The art and the colors and the strategies just keep my attention when the theme starts feeling flat. I played 20 games this week. I scored between 39 and 62 points, averaged in the low 50s. I usually play with 6 AIs, but later in the week I dropped it down to try and play with 2 or 3 AIs later. And later, I will explore lower player counts. Probably, I've been doing it this week so far, in fact. And I never did worse than 4th place, so good for me. The future prognosis for Seven Wonders is I've played a bunch this week already, and I've even looked at the expansions. They are $2 each and would certainly provide a new challenge. They're easy to add or remove. I wouldn't physically have to take the cards in or out when I wanted to play with an expansion or without an expansion. The game is certainly worth $4 more for those expansions. Someday. It's a great game for downtime at work. Fantastic. I also played 2 borrowed games on the app. I played Splendor, where you draft colored chips and you spend buying cards which give you permanent buying power and points. You play till one person reaches a certain score. It's an interesting challenge. I'm bad, just straight up bad at pivoting my strategy. When the AI that goes directly before me in turn order takes the exact card that I was saving up for, I just start to flounder. There's no theme in it. It's really not for me. The other game I played was Seven Wonders Duel. That was a pretty fun challenge. It's a twist on the Seven Wonders. Oh, I do have this one. Here we go. I also played Seven Wonders Duel on the app. It's kind of a twist on Seven Wonders. You still draft cards, build your civilization. I was trying to keep up with the AI's points, and on its last turn, it beat me by military, which I forgot to pay attention to because I was trying to catch up to a score with lots and lots of points. This is likely a future purchase. I put it on my short list. $5. Probably worth it. On to the physical games. First up is Paladins of the West Kingdom. Formerly one of my all-time favorites. You are a kingdom in France, I believe, in the 10th century. And you're defending your kingdom from outsiders while building your personal power. And you do that by playing colorful workers to specific spaces on your board. I really like the mental challenge. This is a tricky game. And I like the story of the kingdom that started with the previous game in the series, Architects of the West Kingdom. And between these two games, I've started to grow attached to this kingdom. On the downside, the AI is frustratingly hard, even on the easiest settings. And there are lots and lots of pieces to contend with, and lots of symbols. And it is long. We're looking at 2 hours to play and clean up and set up the whole thing. Anyway, this week I played one game against the easy solo AI, and I got absolutely wrecked. The final score was 49-91. And at that point I decided I am burned out on this game for now. Winning 20% of the time is fine, but it really starts to take its toll on me when the game is so incredibly long. I could conceivably see it making a comeback when Viscounts of the West Kingdom, the sequel game, comes along, but I can't be sure. Next up is one of my newest games, Welcome To. Welcome To gives you the chance to be a real estate developer or planner or something along those lines. These boxes on the sheet, everybody gets their own little sheet and with 3 neighborhoods on it, and the boxes represent houses or tracts of land or plots of land. Anyway, you fill them in with numbers and you try and keep them relative to one another like an actual street. You want to put lower numbers here, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 17. Like that. The numbers that you get to put down come from cards. You randomly draw 3 each turn, and pick one of those numbers, and they're matched with a special symbol that lets you do little things, that lets you manipulate your map in interesting ways. Simple but challenging. You build your score by making beautiful lush parks, by building backyard pools, or by using fences to fence off specifically sized estates. I do like the randomness. I like the challenge of using the numbers that I'm given, and the relatively simple choices give me a chance to develop long and short-term plans, which I've said before that I need practice on. There's not much theme here. In fact, it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. It's just not how building houses and dividing up plots of land works. And it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it too long. So it's best not to. It's also a little light, and there's danger of it getting repetitive and old pretty fast. Oh, you know what also? This week I played twice on YouTube. I did not mention that. You can play along with a video recorded in the past. What a magnificent world. This week, the 2 channels that I played with were Larry Schneider and Down the Vent. And I've left in the comments below, where I've put the outcome of all these games, or the results of all these games, as it were. You can find the links so that you can click on it if you want and play your own, play against them yourself. Dungeon Academy is next. In this game, you're a student at a hero school, taking an exam. You roll, you shook up your dice, and you roll them into this thingy. This thingy has, and each of these 16 dice represents a room in your dungeon. The objective of the game is to get through the dungeon and get the most points you can without dying. Simulate dungeon so you don't actually die. There's a nice handful of characters. They're cute and they're just different enough to make the game, give the game some variety, keep it from getting stale. And once again, I enjoy the challenge here. It's simple, it's fast. It is, there we go, very nice. As you draw your way through the dungeon, you set a timer so that you don't get all day to plan your way through. You have to hit a 30-second or 60-second limit. But in reality, you don't even need to set a limit. You can, for a new player, a younger player, or a less experienced player, you can certainly go without. You can let them do it without a time limit. And also, if you are setting a time, you can set it for whatever you want. You got a timer on your phone, set it for whatever you want. I like to think that I can do it in less than 30 seconds. I usually can't. 30 seconds is good. There's not much time for character stuff while you're hurrying through the dungeon, drawing your path on these little sheets. But between rounds, when you're adding up your score, you can maybe get some character stuff in if you like the theme. The solo rules. The solo rules are basically just beat your own high score. I assume once I learn to do the best I can with each of the characters, then the game will have no more appeal to me in solo. We shall see. I expect that'll be a while, though. This week I played once. I played with a pirate. I got 29 points. And with quick setup and cleanup and the light but mentally stimulating gameplay, I will certainly revisit this soon. Let's see what's next. Ooh, this is probably my favorite game that I own, and that is Cartographers. You draw a card each turn, and the card gives you a simple choice between one of two, in this case, one of two terrain types, hey Dexter, or one of two shapes, in this case it's terrain types. So this is what you've discovered, in this case a fishing village, and then you can flip or rotate this shape right here to as much as you need to decide where to put it on your map. And this is a map of the land that you're drawing to try to satisfy or appeal to the whims of the queen. I love it. I love it for its easy choices and the challenge of the queen, represented by these gold cards. This is what she wants. So this is what we should be trying to get right now. And let's see, usually I end up with a nice looking map that I'm really proud of because I'm just not very artistic. So this is kind of awesome and I like it. I am at this point starting to feel the repetition of the cards. There are a good number of cards, but I implore Thunderworks Game to make more soon. It's hard to play and score on the downside, to be fair, and give the downsides, with a graphite pencil or a single color of ink pen. I need color to make decisions quickly and to score the game efficiently at the end of each round. But that's easy. That's a colored marker or a colored pencil. crayons. This week I played 2 games, both in solo mode. In the solo mode, you score the difference between, I dropped my card, but I scored the difference between your score and the target, and a target score that is calculated based on the 4 goals that the queen sets out for you. In my 2 games, I scored 20 points and I scored 1 point. I'm proud of both of those games. The 1 point game, I worked hard for that 1 point. And 20 points is my personal best. The future prognosis for this game will remain my personal favorite. I will continue to play it. Oh, and it can be, incidentally, this game can also be played along with YouTube videos recorded in the past. I did not do that this time, so there's no links below, but I have in the past. It's super awesome fun. Last but not least, Battlestar Galactica. We're going to need to back this up some. Battlestar Galactica, the board game, is a faithful recreation of the tone and events of the reboot version of the TV show. Humanity is trying to fulfill an objective card, usually a destination, and maybe a little something after that. The objective cards are based on the 4 seasons of the show. Most players are human. There's also hidden traitors amongst the players who are trying to either blow you up or run you out of resources. I do like cooperative games. I do not like overwhelming odds. I do not like hidden traitors. Those aren't my thing. Early on, when I first bought this game, the similarity to the show appealed to me. After all these years, I've kind of softened on my like of the show, but this still remains a comfortable friend. It is very hard to win as humans, and I don't particularly like betraying other players as a secret Cylon. That doesn't feel good to me. This game also leans heavily on theme. If you don't know the show, if you haven't watched it, it seems ridiculous. Why is this show so decrepit? Why is this ship, so decrepit? Why aren't there enough resources? What's going on here? My experience these days with this game is entirely on play-by-forum on BoardGameGeek.com. It's really fun, and the other players are nice. There's even an automated script for the game that does most of the randomizing and all the tricky legwork for the rules. It's called By Your Command also, which is a pretty clever name. When we play, humans don't win much. I shall keep playing this game as long as someone on those forums is willing to play with me. And incidentally, I should look into what other games I can play by forum so I could experience other games that can't usually be played solo. So, in conclusion, wow, that was a lot. I'm not sure that I want to keep doing these exactly like this, but I do want to do more. So, please keep tuning in, and we shall see what the next episode looks like. Thank you for watching What Got Played, and remember, unless you're game, don't get played.